Hey team, this is Casey.
And this is Shannon, and you're listening to 8 Count Breakdown.
You're home for all things college dance all in one place.
In today's episode, we're breaking down everything you need to know about UDA College Nationals, the history, the styles, the divisions, and more.
For dancers that have been, maybe this episode is going to sound very familiar, or maybe you'll learn something you never learned before.
If you're a college dance team hopeful, a dance parent, or a fan, we'll give you background knowledge and the ins and outs to help you better understand it all.
And if you were sent this episode by one of your dancer friends, this is their way of saying they want you to understand a little more of what they're deeply passionate about and where they'll be competing in January. Today's episode is dedicated to Destiny Morris, a beloved member of the Cal State Fullerton dance team. We're holding her family, teammates, and all those who loved her in our hearts.
However, your connection with dance, thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy today's episode. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is what is UDA? We're going to dive into the history. I learned about all of this information from cheermedia.com as well as varsity.com. They have their own history and some helpful information there too. I found this super interesting, so I'm very excited to share this with you all today. I'm going to talk a little bit about cheer, but I promise it's because it's connected to dance. So if it sounds like I'm telling you the history of cheer, it's because it's also the history of dance. So the NCA, the National Cheerleaders Association, was founded in 1948 by Lawrence Herkimer, and he was nicknamed Herky, which if you're a cheerleader, the Herky jump. Yes, it was named after him because he is the founder of cheerleading, basically. So 1948, first cheerleading company, camp, creator of the spirit stick, pom-pom, everything, you name it. It was Herky. So Jeff Webb, who, spoiler alert, was the founder of UDA. That's why he's coming into play now. Jeff Webb joined Herky full-time in 1971. He was only 23 years old. And this was like a while after Herky started the NCA. So it's been around for a while. Jeff Webb joined him, became head instructor like immediately, and Herky treated him like a son, like his protege. He was like, I've been waiting for you for 25 years. Like Jeff Webb ditched his plans to go to law school to do this and like became head manager of this place. So he's like everything to Herky, right?
Wow.
Then just 3 years later, 1974, Jeff is like, you know what? I don't feel like cheerleading is really going as far as I think it can here. And so I'm going to create my entire own association.
3 years later.
3 years. And he's only 26. So he's like super young. He's like, you know, I'm just going to like start my own business.
Okay. Go off.
Right?
It's giving Father Figure by Taylor Swift.
If only I knew Taylor Swift.
Yeah, no, it's on her recent album. I'll make you listen after.
Okay,
but
perfect.
To our listeners that know Taylor Swift, this situation is giving Father Figure for sure.
So he founds UCA, so Universal Cheerleaders Association. So basically their biggest rival now. He also like Varsity Spirit, which is now the umbrella company, basically.
Yeah.
That was also founded kind of the same year because he's building this empire basically starting now. And not only that, but he recruited 20 of Herky's top instructors. He's like not only the base rival, but he's like, I'm going to take all your best people with me. Bye.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, this is tea.
I feel like Herky's probably just like, I feel bad for him.
I swear we're not a gossip podcast, but like,
no, we're not.
Whoa.
But this was
This
tea.
is
That's why I was like,
juicy.
I cannot wait to share this and I have to share it all. So basically, Jeff just felt like Herky's approach was just old school, right?
Okay.
Kind of like we're talking about with dance where it's sidelines.
Yeah.
That is what Herky defined cheerleading as. It was just very simple moves, high V, low V. They're just there on the sidelines. And Jeff just felt like there's so much more we could do athletically and we can keep growing and doing more challenging stunts and more challenging tumbling. And after he founded UCA, he very quickly started doing cheerleading competitions because he realized how much that pushes the sport when you're competing. Now cheerleading is its own sport. So like this is when it all kind of becomes like its own thing. UCA quickly added cheer competitions to elevate the sport. So 1976, this is 2 years later after Jeff starts UCA, Herky is still at NCA and he creates a new association, NDA. So now the dance portion of that. So now they have NCA and NDA. So 1980, so 4 years later in classic Jeff fashion, along with Chris Shepard, they founded UDA. So that is the dance extension of UCA. Fun fact, it was originally called UDC, which was Universal Dance Camps, because that was a lot of their focus, especially with the cheer portion too. Like camps was a huge focus of what they were doing, was just spreading, trying to help improve the sport, help out schools and help out cheer teams to improve. So UDA quickly became the largest dance company in the US. So
Whoa.
Jeff really knew what he was
Okay,
doing.
Jeff.
And the first UDA College Nationals was actually held the same year. So that kind of ties us all together. UDA was founded and first college nationals in 1980. And then just quick other date, 2004, so 24 years later, was when Varsity Spirit, so Jeff's umbrella, acquired its largest competitor, which was National Spirit Group, which was Herky's umbrella group of NCA, NDA. So now that's why they're all together. Yeah.
This is so father figure.
Now we want to talk about the divisions and the categories. So I'll break down the divisions first, and then Casey will break down the categories. So there are 3 divisions at UDA College Nationals. They are Division 1A, Division 1, and Open. And Division 1A and Division 1 used to be what the colleges were also under, like those same divisions. But let me tell you, we went down rabbit holes trying to figure this out because they have changed all their names now.
Yeah.
So UDA has kept it the same. They're Division 1A, Division 1, Open, but the college and the university divisions have changed. So Division 1A is basically all colleges that were formerly part of Division 1A, which is now Division 1 FBS, which is a subcategory of Division 1, which stands for Football Bowl Subdivision. A lot of this is based off of football. So that division is just based off of the number of varsity sports the college has and amount of financial aid and scholarships they provide to student athletes. So another decider of division is a lot of times money, how much money the college has to give to their student athletes. So that's why a lot of the bigger universities are Division 1A because of those deciding factors. Just Division 1 FBS, if a college or university is under that division, they're in Division 1A. Division 1 is now all the other colleges that are part of Division 1. So that includes FCS, which is the football championship subdivision. These schools just provide fewer scholarships for student athletes. So similar, just usually smaller. And then the last division is Open. That's everyone else. That can include Division 2, Division 3, junior colleges, the NAIA, which is just a separate entity from the NCAA. So just for smaller colleges and universities that are not a part of that.
And you see teams jump around. Usually they go up and not down because I think
Universities
mostly it's
grow.
money, alumni donations, or any number of things.
Yeah, so like we saw St. Thomas jump 2 divisions, which is the first time that's ever happened. Their university jumped 2 divisions. They went from Open to Division 1. So yeah, we'll see that sometimes. So their dance team follows. So that's why you'll see dance teams sometimes change divisions. It's based on their college or university.
Yeah, and because they went from D3 to D1 FCS,
Yes.
that's why they're in Division 1 and not 1A.
Correct.
Interesting.
So it's a lot to figure out, but luckily we don't have to know any of that. We just get
UDA
Division
decides
1A,
that for us.
Division 1, and Open. Yes.
Yes.
So thank you, UDA. You want to break down the categories for us?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about the different styles. So as we know, there's pom, jazz, hip hop, and game day. So first we're going to start by defining each. I know as dancers, it might seem pretty obvious to us, but if there's any fans of the sport or parents or maybe new dancers just starting out that are wondering what separates each one, just to have a better understanding of what makes pom pom, what makes hip hop, because you can have a hip hop pom and you can have a hip hoppy jazz, but what are specific things that really define?
Yeah, at what point does it cross over to the other category?
Right.
Mhm.
So starting with pom is pretty easy to spot. They usually have pom-poms in their hands. And according to varsity.com, poms must be used for 80% of the routine, which I was shocked by. I thought that they just had to hold them the whole time and only put them down for like tricks.
Mhm.
But no, they only have to use it for 80% of the routine. But what makes a dance pom? Typically, this is a high energy routine with an emphasis in visual effects and synchronization. And pom highlights uniformity more than any other style. Think like proper pom placement, so strong lines, like really having defined high V's and T's and knowing exactly where you're supposed to be, strength of movement, technique, formations, a large emphasis on precision, visual effectiveness, and athleticism. Jazz is a blend of technique, control, emotion, and musicality. So jazz can be slow like a contemporary or lyrical. It can also be more powerful and hard-hitting or sassy, lively, or it can be kind of bold and dark, like Mr. Morale that the U of M did in 2023. Also, musical theater or jazz funk are also options as well. So jazz is a very diverse category. You can do so many different things. Sometimes you even see teams find what they're strongest at and really emphasize that. I think there have been a couple years now where LSU has done kind of a hip-hoppy style
Mhm.
Jazz and
Or if they're like a very trickster team, they've got a lot of strength and tricks that they have. A lot of times through hip hop, they'll throw those into jazz just to kind of highlight their strengths.
yeah. Or in the last 2 years, Ohio has done a sort of modern style jazz dance and have taken it in a different direction. And you'll know it's modern because of the expressive emotions and storytelling and kind of the weird shapes that they make, less traditional. My arms have proper placement everywhere I go and more freedom in movement. But in collegiate dance, the jazz style can vary team to team. Some teams try to do the same thing every year, some teams switch it up, just kind of depends. Now, hip hop. So, hip hop at the collegiate level blends athleticism, musicality, and authentic foundations of the style. So, unlike pom and jazz, which rely more on uniformity and technique, hip hop emphasizes more grounded movements, dynamics, and character. And finally, game day, which showcases the spirit and tradition of collegiate athletics. This category focuses less on technical difficulty and more on crowd leadership and execution of traditional style. So teams perform elements like fight songs, game situations, and then there's also a third, which is game day performances.
When you say game situations, you're talking like first down, touchdown.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Yep. So if there is a specific game situation in a football game specifically, and their team is on defense and they want the crowd to make noise, that would be a game situation where, okay, we're going to do this specific cheer, this specific routine to get the crowd loud. Or first downs, a celebratory. Our team just got a first down and we're celebrating that in this moment. So these are game day situations. And in this category, most teams are using props. So signs, obviously poms, flags. And game day isn't about competition style complexity. You're going to see far fewer tricks and skills like turns, leaps, etc. You might see some, but not as much. It's more about crowd interaction and kind of recreating the atmosphere and what it looks like on a true sideline.
I feel like game day is just a phenomenal opportunity to highlight if your strength is energy,
Absolutely.
creating that game day atmosphere. There's just so much that you can do with that. And that's an awesome opportunity. I'm glad they added it.
Yeah, I think there's so many universities that have such phenomenal game day atmospheres.
Mhm.
So this is a chance for their dance teams, and the cheer teams also have a game day portion as well. Or they have spirit programs where they all kind of come together and do it.
And I feel like that's what I usually see, right, for game
Right.
day is that their spirit programs are all together on the
Mhm.
stage. So they're competing together, which is also cool, that overlap. And it was their cheer, their mascot, their dance team, their everything. It's cool to just see like their whole university come together. I feel like it brings me back to episode 2 when we talked about the dancers, how much they do for their school and how much
Mhm.
pride they have in their university. And
Yeah.
feel like they're bringing that side of them to UDA Nationals and not just these two routines.
I
Like,
think that makes it more powerful
yeah,
too.
yes.
Just having a united front as a spirit program.
Well, it's what they're doing for most of their season, right?
Yeah.
UDA Nationals, those two routines are such a not a small, I mean, it's a very large part of what they do, but after hearing their day to day, it is kind of, in my opinion, a smaller part of their entire season. It
Yeah.
encompasses so much more than that. It's really exciting for them and probably carries a lot of pride to bring that to their nationals competition.
Absolutely. So, next, we're going to talk about what the judges are looking for in each of these categories. And a lot of them are kind of the same. When it comes to what judges are looking for at UDA Nationals, there are a few major buckets that every routine is evaluated on. And each style has its own twist on the expectations, but they're all outside of game day. Game day has its own score sheet and judging system, which we will break down in a future episode. But the judges are looking for something different than what they look for in pom, jazz, and hip hop. So, first up, execution. So, this is basically, are you doing the movement correctly? For pom and jazz, judges want to see clean placement, strong control, full completion of each motion, and no bouncy or ricocheting arms. So, when you're hitting a pom motion, you are hitting and holding it. There is no shake in your motion at all. And fun fact that I learned, if you are trying to figure out how do I hit my palm motions without ricocheting, think about squeezing your forearms. If you have power in your forearms, that should help a lot. avoiding the ricochet. Jazz adds a big emphasis on posture and alignment since the style is so technical. And then hip hop still looks for the same clean placement and control, but with an added layer of staying true to style, meaning the groove, the character, I like to say persona, and foundations of hip hop have to be there. Next is skills. So in pom and jazz, judges are evaluating how well the team executes turns, leaps, jumps, kicks, and lifts. Jazz also weighs how well each skill is fully completed and technically sound. Hip hop skills look a little bit different. So tricks, stalls, freezes. I'm not sure many people are doing stalls anymore, but it is on the score sheet.
I hope it comes back.
I love a
I
stall.
love a good stall.
That's the only trick that I
love
can
a
do.
good baby freeze.
There's more floor work, acro elements, jumps. We're starting to see some more acro elements bleeding into pom and jazz as well, but hip hop has kind of always had that. And again, judges are looking at the approach and the completion, not just the final picture. Next is synchronization and spacing, which are huge and the same across all three styles. So judges want to see teams moving as one, staying on the music, and keeping even and intentional spacing, and not just in formations, but also in transitions too, which I found interesting.
Yeah.
Because you think transitions can be kind of flexible, but you want to make sure that dancer A is moving the same speed as dancer B to the next formation, because if one is moving faster than the other, or they're spacing,
Or they get to their position first and the other person isn't there yet.
yeah, you want to make sure that when you're going from formation 1 to formation 2, that you're ending in formation 1 at the same time and starting in formation 2 at the same time. Next is choreography and musicality. So all three styles are judged on creativity, originality, musicality, and how well the movement fits the music. So you can't just take choreography from another dance and set it to a new song. You want to make sure that the choreography that you are doing fits the song that you have chosen. Pom and hip hop focus heavily on visuals and musical hits, while jazz adds a bit more artistry, the storytelling, the emotion, and connective tissue between the dancer and the audience. So what is going to pull the audience in? What is going to make the audience connect with our dance and make them cry, maybe? Make them smile and feel joyful? What emotion?
Cry?
Mostly cry, but there are jazz dances that you watch and you just smile because they're so fun and
yes, or like, beautiful, like just
like awestruck. But I feel like it can be a lot easier to make the audience cry because if you find the right song, strikes a chord with somebody, they're gonna cry. But I feel like it might be a little more difficult to like make your audience smile.
Yeah, and I'm also
you do that in pom and hip hop, like brings so much joy.
I feel like pom is like a surprise face, like the whole time, beginning to end.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's the awestruck one.
Yes,
but like I love a jazz dance that'll make me smile.
Yeah. But I'm curious, I was thinking, do the ones that make people cry do better than the ones that just make people smile? Because you feel more moved by them.
Possibly.
But I don't know.
I mean, I think if you look at it over time, you'd probably see more emotional ones doing well because it just strikes a chord with people and it resonates.
Than just the smiling ones. Yeah.
I'd love a smiling one though.
Yeah.
Don't stop those. Please don't stop
we
those.
Need
Keep
them.
doing them.
We can't be crying the whole time.
No, I can't cry the whole time.
We have to recover.
Yeah, no. So the next one is routine staging and complexity. So they look at how well the team uses the floor. They're not just in one spot together all the time. They're spreading out. They're coming together. They're going in the top right corner. So how seamless the transitions are. I love a good transition. When you are watching a dance and suddenly they're in a new formation, you're like, how did they get there?
Because they were dancing through it, so you didn't even notice
I love
they
that.
were.
Yes. So I love that this is something that judges are looking for. They're also looking for how much variety and intricacy there is in the movement. So that can mean tempo changes, weight shifts, footwork, full body movement. Basically, is the choreography dynamic and layered? Next is difficulty of skills. It's also judged in every style, both the level of difficulty of the skills themselves and how many dancers are executing them. More dancers are doing high-level skills equals a higher level of difficulty, as long as they're clean.
Yeah, so like U of M's full team 540.
Yeah. And lastly, there's overall performance. So judges take into account projection, energy, passion, expression, and for jazz, the ability to convey a story or emotion, like we talked about.
Yeah.
And they wrap everything up with an overall impression, which is the routine cohesive? Are the music, choreography, and costuming appropriate for the style? Does the routine fulfill what the category is supposed to be? Now I'm going to talk about game day judging, which their score sheet is entirely entirely different. So if you look at pom, jazz, and hip hop, you see a lot of similarities, but game day is something completely different. So it's more about the crowd leadership. If you think about it, when they're at game day and they're down on the field,
That is
what's
their
their job?
purpose, yeah.
It is to lead the crowd.
Yep.
So judges are looking at fight song and game situations like we've talked about. I think most universities, if not all, have fight songs, and the dance teams and the cheer teams usually have choreography that go with this. And then game situations like we talked about, first downs, touchdowns. I don't know actually if any teams are using basketball situations.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to keep an eye out for that in the years to come to see if anybody does basketball situations, but they might utilize that as a game situation instead of football. I feel like football is the one that everybody goes to right away because they're down in the sidelines the whole game in front of the crowd, whereas basketball, they're kind of tucked off to the side. So I think it's easier to have more content from a football perspective. So judges are looking at fight songs and game situations. They're looking at, does the routine feel like something you'd see on an actual game day? Are the skills appropriate for a sideline environment? They look at the pace, flow, and crowd engagement. Is the performance smooth? Does it keep the crowd involved? Does it feel collegiate? So not only am I doing the choreography that I've been instructed to do, but I'm looking around, trying to engage with the crowd and make eye contact and get them involved to try and encourage people to come together, serve a common goal. And maybe the goal is getting loud or cheering after a touchdown. Next is synchronization and spacing. So similar to pom, jazz, and hip hop, same expectation, clean timing, consistent spacing. Execution, our motions sharp, controlled, and complete. Our skills performed safely and intentionally. Crowd leading tools, so signs, poms, megaphones, flags, are they used clearly and effectively? Do they have a purpose? I think signs are a big part of that, making sure that the signs are helpful and not just saying the name of the school mascot, but actually saying words that help the crowd know what to say. And then overall effect, does the team connect with the crowd? Are they portraying a collegiate image? Do they leave a strong impression? And then there's the performance routine, which is judged on choreography, synchronization, and execution, but still through a game day lens. Is it entertaining? Is it engaging and appropriate for the environment? So you're not going to whip out a jazz routine on game day. You're going to do something, and you're not going to do something to a unique, quirky song. You're going to choose something that a lot of people know, whether it's a classic song that everybody knows, if it's a mix of songs from a famous artist, a current trendy pop song, because that's what's going to get people engaged.
People are going to leave and go get concessions if you're dancing to a song they don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So now that we know what these different categories are and what the judges are looking for, let's look at what's been winning. So in pom, the pom teams in recent years that rise to the top are usually the ones that are insanely clean, aggressively synchronized, and full of intentional visuals. So what's been winning in the 2020s are routines that combine extremely tight execution. So like we talked about, no wiggle, no bounce, no ricochet. Every motion hits where it's supposed to go. High volume, high energy movement. Visual density, so fast-paced formations. You're not staying in one too long. Skill sections that are sharp, controlled, and uniform. Recognizable sections. I think the key one that I think of is Ava Wagner, University of Minnesota Pom 2025. She has her own moment with her leg.
Oh, yes. Yes.
What's been winning is iconic moments.
Okay, here's the two that I remember from Ohio. The attitude turn to the backflip, and then their handstand slide with poms. Shout out to Tribe 99 for that. Such great choreography.
Yeah. How do you even think of that? You want musicality built into the choreography. If you're looking to win, every accent has a purpose. And then team-wide consistency. Obviously, pom is about uniformity. So the way the whole team moves is one, and not just the front row, not just the person front and center. It's the whole team. I think a common phrase is as one in dance, because you want to move as one, not as 18, 20, 25, however many people you have on your team. You don't want to move as individuals all doing your own thing.
And you don't want the 2-star best dancers on the team front and center the whole time, and then the others just being backup.
If you watch some of the best teams, their best dancer, which all of their dancers are their best dancer, but objectively their best dancer might be in the back corner sometimes, might be
continuously rotating, and every single person is all over the stage.
So everybody has to dance as one and look the same. But overall, the Palm teams that win feel relentless. If I watch the Palm teams from the last few years, that's the word that comes to mind is relentless. They just look like they are there to fight. They are there to win. They're clean and visually overwhelming in all of the best ways. Now for Jazz. So Jazz in the 2020s at UDA Nationals has completely evolved, and what consistently wins now are routines that feel different. These are the ones that push artistic boundaries and make people feel something, like we've talked about. So here's what we've been seeing from some of the top Jazz routines in recent years. We've been seeing unexpected music choices. So Ohio State is the perfect example. They've won the last 2 years in Jazz. They've used songs that most people would probably never think to try. They created something that felt fresh and it was unforgettable. Even when I hear My Way now, I immediately think of Ohio State. In 2023, the University of Minnesota dance team chose a hip hop track to Mr. Morale by Kendrick Lamar. So that choice alone signaled where the category is heading. Jazz is no longer limited to traditional jazz, what it once was. Think jazz hands, think all that jazz. It's also kind of steering away from the lyrical contemporary that we've seen in like the 2010s,
The
I'd
2010s,
say.
that was like there was like the cookie cutter routine,
Yes.
and they all started to look
They
very
all
much the
started to
same.
look the same.
Yeah.
And there were several years where I feel like multiple teams had the same song.
Yes, that absolutely happened.
Yes.
Yeah, because even the song choices were getting cookie cutter.
Yeah. So I'm really loving
Yeah.
this new direction. And
Same.
now we're looking for things that are different rather than picking the same lyrical routine that we've always picked before. So, what does this look like? The movement is having unexpected angles, unusual pathways into skills, rhythm changes that keep the audience on edge, shapes that aren't pretty for the sake of being pretty. They're more interesting.
They help tell the story. They make you feel something. Yeah.
What else? Bold themes and emotional depth. So you're seeing they're telling a story with intention. They're committing fully, wholeheartedly to a character. I think we talked about it in episode 3, where in My Way, they were that character.
Yes.
Wholeheartedly, but they're tapping into real, raw emotion using subtle details to make the theme cohesive and creating moments that stay with the audience. So, similar to University of Minnesota's Palm, where Ava Wagner had that moment, we talked about it in our viral dance episode, but what are moments that the crowd is going to look back on for years to come and remember that specific move?
U of M's Dream On, the
Yes.
aerial into continuing their turns in second.
Unforgettable.
Yeah.
Literally
Absolutely
unforgettable. Everybody will always point to that. Now, hip hop. So, in the 2020s, the winning hip hop routines are the ones that blend athleticism with authentic hip hop foundations. So, big power tricks, controlled transitions. So, we've talked about this before, but blending from one spot to another while having choreography the whole way through. Strong storytelling or theme throughout the movement. And it's not just in the costumes, it's in the moves that they're doing too. Because I feel like sometimes hip hop can get very, well, the costumes that we're wearing fit the song and we're dancing in a hip hop style rather than, okay, what choreography can we do specifically for this song? And there's always a moment section, just like Jazz and Palm. There's always a moment, something memorable that sets the routine apart. And lastly, stamina and cleanliness. So the best team stays sharp from the first count to the last. Now, game day. The routines that win game day are the ones that feel the most authentically collegiate and the most crowd first and how much they're engaging the crowd, not just doing game day for the sake of doing game day.
Can't just be like a clean Palm routine, like something that would win in the Palm category.
You can't just dance to your fight song and call that game day. You have to have active, engaging elements. And it's not about the complexity like some of the other categories are. It's about clarity. So this looks like sharp, traditional motion technique that's easy for the crowd to follow. School spirit that reads instantly. You see this through the energy, the smiles, the projection, unified team look and attitude. Everyone looks like they belong on a football field. You're not dancing in Advent Arena red. You are on the football field or on the basketball court projecting to the crowd and fully taking that on. So game day teams that are performing more like spirit leaders than competition dancers, and judges reward teams that actually look like they've been on the sidelines all year long, which, like we talked about in episode 2, that is most of their year.
Yes,
so can I take that and keep that energy from the football field to the dance floor.
So it will show, I was thinking prior to episode 2 when we learned all of that, I was thinking they were working so much on their nationals routine and game day was just this extra thing that they were a part of because that's just what dance teams do, right? You're on the sidelines. Whereas no, that is a big focus. And I think that shows then in this category that they are spending all of this time focusing on those game day routines. And that is a major part of most of their season. And then they focus on nationals kind of later. It has to be such a big part of what they're practicing. And it can't just be some side thing that they're doing.
And now, thanks to it being a category,
Right.
the thing that they're working on all year long,
They
they
get
are
to
now
showcase
and get judged on and put out there.
and continue
Yeah.
to improve then their game day experience for
Yes.
their
Now they
university
have
or
feedback
college. Yeah,
to work off
exactly.
of. Yes.
Exactly.
Another thing that we wanted to share with you guys is what the weekend of UDA Nationals is going to look like. I think that that is very content heavy and maybe not going to be easy to follow until we have the actual schedule. So for now, on varsity.com's website, they have at least what categories and what divisions are going to go each day. So I'm going to make up a little graphic for you guys and share that to our socials, and then you can save that just so that you're aware when you're scheduling your UDA Nationals weekend and working your entire schedule around it like we do. Okay, I know that D1A Jazz is on X date, and I'm going to make sure that I don't miss it. I will say now that if you want to see Division 1A game day, that is only on Friday. So every other category that happens on Friday is semis or prelims. So you'll get 1 or 2 more chances to see that dance. But if you want to see Division 1A game day, which I know I do, it's incredible. And when we have the times, we'll post those too. But for now, know that Division 1A game day is on Friday.
And just a reminder, they are Eastern times that they post on there. So depending on where you're at in the country or the world, that you change those times based on where you live.
Good note.
I've made the mistake before when I was a little rookie UDA College Nationals watcher.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
So it's going to be a full weekend at UDA College Nationals. And now that you know the history, how the divisions work, what trends are winning, what each day entails, you have the full picture of how this competition comes together.
UDA College Nationals isn't just about the routines on the stage. It's about the athleticism, the precision, the artistry, and teamwork at the highest of levels. Understanding the ins and outs of the competition gives you a deeper appreciation for what these dancers are achieving and how the sport has evolved over time. We hope this gives you the background that you need to watch, cheer, and follow the competition with a whole new perspective. I know I'm going to be looking at it a lot differently rather than just watching the dances to watch dance because I love dance, but really a true understanding and appreciation for what these dancers are doing.
And what the judges are looking for. I feel like having a better understanding helps understand why things happen the way that they do at College Nationals, which for just a fan who doesn't know kind of all of this background information, sometimes it can be confusing. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful. It was for us as we researched it. And yeah, we're happy to share.
With that, thank you guys so much for breaking down UDA College Nationals with us. To stay on beat with all things college dance, make sure you follow us on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok to keep up with all the dance trends.
And please subscribe on Spotify and YouTube and leave us a quick review. It really helps more people discover the show.
And if you liked today's episode, please consider sharing it with your friends, dancers and non-dancers alike to help them learn about nationals.
Today's episode of 8 Count Breakdown was written and produced by Casey Rush and Shanyn Hill, editing by our team.
Information referenced in this episode was compiled from cheermedia.com and varsity.com.
We'll catch you right back here next time for all things college dance.
This has been
8 Count Breakdown.